when I started recording this video or started thinking about subjects to record about, I noticed that all of the subjects were like very brainy, like lists of what a fearful avoidant attachment style is. And that made me realize that one of the reasons that I started this channel is because when it comes to attachment styles, a lot of what I found was um, a lot of psychological jargon. And when English isn't your first language, that might be kind of hard, but also this is such an emotional thing. The fearful avoidant attachment style, it's such a hard place to be in. And the most important reason that I started this is because I do not want you to feel alone. I do not want you to feel alone. And I know that chances are quite big that you actually do feel alone. So that is why I decided to kind of like push aside the whole brainy brainy lists thing. They might come back in the future, and just tell you a little bit more about what fearful avoidant attachment style was like for me, just so you know that you are not the only one. For me, this is 10 years ago, so I'm completely out of it. I'm healed. I'm very securely attached now. I'm very happy with the same man that I was with when I was right in the middle of it. So just know that you can get out of it. Um, but one of the things that I found the hardest was the constant feeling that I was fooling myself, that I actually already knew that I wanted to break up, and that the only reason that I didn't was just because I was scared. I was scared to break up. I was scared to hurt him. I was scared to be alone. And I felt like that was the only reason that I was in the relationship, and that all these thoughts and all these doubts I was having, that meant that the relationship wasn't good and there was just something I wasn't facing. And that felt like such a huge dark cloud hanging over me. Um, and every time I kind of allowed myself to be happy or to be in the moment, that always came back. Like, what are you doing? You're fooling yourself. It might be good now, right now in this moment, but you know you want to break up. You know that that's what's going to happen. So you better not enjoy it too much, because otherwise he will think that this will be forever, and then you'll hurt him even more when you break up. So that made me be standoffish a lot, which is actually, now I know, kind of like a protection mechanism, right? So it's a way to keep him at a distance. And it was, when I look back on it, I'm on the brink of tears the whole time. I don't know if you've noticed. That's because, partly because I just know how hard this was to deal with, and my heart just kind of breaks knowing that you might go through this if you watch this video. Um, and it's also because it's vulnerable, obviously. But like I said, I really don't want you to feel like you're alone. Now I kind of forgot where I was, but I think I was saying that it was kind of like a dark cloud that was hanging over me all the time. And now I can see it was a protection mechanism, and it made me be standoffish like all the time, or most of the time, because I felt like if I am too happy or I show that I love him too much, then he will feel like everything is right again, and be invested in a relationship even more, and then I will break his heart when I break up with him. And that was exactly what, like, my fear brain was trying to achieve, that distance, um, where I wouldn't let him get too close. And also I was protecting myself through making him less desirable in my head by doubting my feelings, by finding things I didn't like about him. But anytime I kind of let that go and I kind of like enjoyed our relationship, which is I thought was where I was working for, where I was working on. Anytime that happened, this feeling that I was just fooling myself came back. And it was one of the things I was the most afraid of, that I was fooling myself and that meant that I would have to hurt him and that I actually had known for such a long time. So I was just wasting his time, which made me feel like such a bad person. And you are not a bad person. You really are not a bad person. Now, looking back on it, I don't really believe in the ability to fool yourself if you have doubts, if you have this kind of obsession with your relationship, because I mean, see how much you're actually working on the relationship and trying to see how it can work and if it works. So how are you fooling yourself? You are doing more than 99% of the people around you in general for your relationship, and that's a good thing. That's a very admirable thing. So I really want you to know that you are a good person. You are a good person that just doesn't know for sure right now, and that's okay. You do not have to know for sure all the time. And not knowing doesn't make you a bad person, and not knowing also doesn't mean that your partner doesn't still thoroughly enjoy being with you. You are giving them more than you know just by being yourself, without working for it, without doing anything for it. You are more valuable than you know. So because I know I felt like I was actually like hurting my now husband and boyfriend. Um, and it felt like I was only valuable when I would be perfect, like when I had figured all of this out and I wouldn't have doubts anymore, and I wouldn't have like these swings going back and forth from knowing that I wanted to be with him to just not knowing anything at all anymore. And I thought, only when I get out of that, I'm a good partner, I'm a good girlfriend. And until that time comes, he is like tolerating me more than that he's enjoying me, and that just was not the case. And I think he actually mentioned that a few times, but I just couldn't receive that. I couldn't believe that he would actually just want to be with me because of me and not because of what I did or how I performed, which is also very much so a part of the fearful avoidant attachment style, which I didn't know back then because there was not a lot known on attachment styles. So I actually got out of it without knowing that I had a fearful avoidant attachment style, but figuring that out made me heal on a deeper level, which made my relationship even better and made me even happier. So when you feel like you're fooling yourself, a lot of times you don't take into account your own fears and your own convictions about how a relationship should be, what it should look like, because we all have this image and it's very heavily influenced by movies, by series, by shows. You call it shows, I think. So the image we have of relationships is actually not one that leads to a happy relationship necessarily. And it could be that, for instance, you believe that you have to be in love all the time, like you have to have these intense feelings all the time, you have to want to be with them all the time, and you don't. And because you don't, you think, oh well, that's not good, so that means I have to break up, and I'm not doing that, so I'm fooling myself. All the while, your convictions, your beliefs about relationships and how they should be and how you should feel are just not realistic and don't lead to happy relationships. And I think so many of us have these beliefs that are just not realistic. And it wasn't until I actually interviewed 100 couples who were happily married for over 40 years for my first book, which is only in Dutch, not in English. But that really just opened my eyes so much to what a real long lasting relationship actually looks like and what I can expect and cannot expect, which took so much pressure off and really made me enjoy more of what was instead of what it should be. So I really don't believe you can be fooling yourself. There's a lot of fear involved, there's a lot of beliefs involved, and it's so valuable to look at those and heal them, which is absolutely 100% possible. But also, and I want to kind of close this off with this. What if you are actually doing the complete opposite of fooling yourself by looking at this relationship, by going this deeply, by following maybe even like a hunch or like a small voice or feeling inside you that says, well, there's got to be more to love than this. There's got to be more to love than that image that I have of like the media and like you have to keep things exciting and da 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 da. Love is so much bigger. Love is so much bigger than that. It really is not just checklists and what you see in the movies. It's better than that. It's way better than that. Love is more than just a feeling. It's a power that can heal, that can do so much, that can do anything. So it could actually be that you are on a very sincere search for what that bigger vision of love is and what that would look like. And it's so amazing and good that you are following that and that you are not just doing what you think you should do or what society tells you to do. You might actually be in a relationship that can make you so much happier than you think, but your part of you is holding on to this like this old image that everybody's telling you you should be doing or you should be having. So you actually might be so much more on the right path than you think. And you might actually be so much further along than you think. And I just want you to know that I felt like I was fooling myself for years, for 5 or 6 years, and I still married the guy. And I am so flippin' happy I did because he's like the most amazing person I know. We had a daughter a year ago. We're married. We're married 5 years ago. And pretty much every day I'm just so grateful that I made that choice and that I persevered and that I didn't listen to the voice that said you're fooling yourself. Because in the times that I kind of could see it clearly, I could see that he was quite a catch. And I just had to find a way to receive that. And there is a way. There is a way for you. All right, I'm going to end this. Just know that you are so much more valuable than you think and feel right now. And also know that everything is possible, especially when it comes to love. Let me know in the comments below if you recognize this feeling of fooling yourself, if you've had that thought before. And if you want to know more about the fearful avoidant attachment style, you can watch this video, or wherever it is. This channel is all about the fearful avoidant attachment style.